In this video of CSS, we will talk about the selectors. Selectors are basically something which will help us out in selecting the particular element or the particular portion of your web page. So here we have four kinds of basic selectors. These are name selector, class selector, ID selector and universal selector. The name selector is something where you will pass the name of the particular tag for which you want to apply the styles. For example, if I want to make some styles for the heading h1 or h2, I will use h2 as the name of the tag, and inside these I will put all these styles which I want to put for that particular tag. Now second is the class selector, where I will put dot as a class selector, and that particular class of CSS will contain some list of styles. When on a document I want to apply that particular set of styles to a particular element, I will use the class attribute by passing the class name. So whatever styles I have passed in that particular class selector, that will all be applied on that particular segment. The next is ID selector. So ID selector is something where you will put these styles which is particularly for a single element, as it is ID selector and we cannot have the multiple ID with the same value in the same web page. So if for a particular div or something you want to put a style, you can use the ID selector. And universal selector is something where you will put the style for the complete DOM. So let's get started with the practical implementation and can see how these different selectors can be implemented.
So for starting the implementation of selectors, I will use the embedded style sheet just to make sure that you will see the styles and the tags on the same page, so it will be easier for you to understand. So now what I'll do, I'll start working with the name selector, as we have seen so far in the video that here I can pass any particular name of the element like h1, h2, p, paragraph, bold, b. Alright, so such things can be decorated by using the name selector, and we will use the name selector in the situation when you want that complete document should get the same styles for all the similar tags. For example, here in h1, if I'll say color to blue, then all the h1 of this particular tag will be converted to the blue font. Alright, similarly if I'll say h2 to color green and text decoration to underline, so it will be reflected to all the h2 tags. Alright, like if I will copy and paste it again, so you will see all the h2 tags, whether I have written anything here or not, all will be decorated with the same styles. Similarly, you can pass the same styles to the multiple elements at the same time. For example, I have a couple of tags like for bold tag and for the italics tag. I want them to be decorated with the underline. So what I'll do, I'll just put the text decoration underline here, and you can see here b comma I, that means for the bold as well as for the italics I will decorate the text with the underline. So let's see how it will be looking like. So here I'll put a bold tag like this is bold. I'll close the bold tag, I'll break the line, and again I'll put another I, that is italics. This is italics. Alright, so here you can see both are coming with the underlines, whether it's bold or italics. Now you can also use the nesting here by the time you want to work with any nested things. Like for example, for paragraph, inside a paragraph I will put a bold tag, and for bold I want to do something like what I want to do, I want to say background color to lime green. Alright, So what it will mean that if I will put any bold tag, that will not be decorated with this lime green. As here already I have a bold, let me refresh it, but here you can see there is no background. This background color lime green is only applicable for those bold tags who will be there inside a paragraph. So let's see. Let's start a paragraph. This is a sample paragraph with a highlighted bold text. Alright, so now here what I'll do, I will start the bold tag here, I will finish it here. Alright, so inside this paragraph I can see there is a bold tag. Let me close the P tag also. Alright, so let's come here and refresh, and here you can see this is a sample paragraph with the highlighted bold text, and here you can see it is bold, it is underlined as well, because here I have designed the underline design for the bold text. Alright, if you don't want to use underline here, so again you can come for inline style and you can use the text decoration to none. Alright, so here you can see for this there is no more underline. Alright, so this is about the name selector. So you can use these names the way you want. Now the another way to use the thing inside a CSS is the class selector. The reason why there is a class selector concept, because there may be a situation where you want to put the similar styles for the different tags. For example, let me first remove this one. So what I'll do for the class selector, first of all I will use dot, that is a class. Alright, and here I'll set different style classes. Let's say the first style here I will use the color green and font Times New Roman. Similarly, let's put another style 2, another class. Alright, and here I will use again the same attributes with a different value, like it's red and font family to Corsiva. Alright, so now here I have not specified like for which particular tag I want to put these styles. So if I am saving it, you can see all the styles are gone away. Alright, so let's remove the text as well. I'll put some relevant text here. So what my requirement is, like here I'm putting an h2, that is a heading, like heading 1, and for this particular heading I want to put a paragraph. So this is a paragraph for heading 1. Similarly, I want to repeat the same thing for one more tag, that is h2 again, it's heading 2. This is the paragraph for heading 2. Alright, so now this is the updated text. Now what I want to do is, I want that this heading and its relevant paragraph should come in a similar manner, and this particular couple, like this heading and a paragraph, should come in a similar manner, but with the different styles which I have already defined here. So what can I do is, I will use the attribute class, and here I will pass the name of the class like style1. Alright, so let's close it now. Alright, and I'll do the same thing. See, I'll use the same style for this paragraph as well. Similarly, in this particular situation, I will again use a class attribute with a different value, that is style2, and I will use the same class, that is style2, for this paragraph. So let's come here and refresh, and you can see that both of these class, like h1 and h2, here means heading 1 and heading 2, are being decorated with the different classes of style. Alright, now what I'll do is I'll enclose them all inside a div. All right, I'll put it all inside a div. Let's close this. For now it will not be reflected, but now let's add one more selector here, that is the id selector. And for id selector I will use hash. All right, so like my div is the id selector. Id is actually an attribute in order to make a unique element in your HTML document. So what I'll do here, for making a div, I will use some of the attributes like height. Let's put height as 300 pixel, width as 500 pixel. All right, and we'll put a background color here with the background color yellow. All right, now here's how I have decorated this my div, but if I want to apply it here, what I'll do is I'll say id is equal to my div. So this id selector will be applied only to that particular element in the document which is being decorated with the same id. As here you can see, it's my div. It's just a unique feature to give it, but for this particular element I have designed this whole styles. So when I'll refresh here, you can see it's being enclosed inside a box with such things. If you want to use some padding things as well, you can do that. Let's say 20 pixel is the padding. So now this is how you can start. So these are the different selectors that we worked on, that is the name selector, id selector and class selector. So that is all for this video.
In this particular video, we'll discuss about the background. In background, basically, when I talk about, you can pass the different colors in the different ways, which we have already learned in the previous video. Along with that, you can also pass the images in the different ways. Like sometimes you want to fix background, sometimes you want a movable background. As per your choice, you can pass the background image. So let's start practically what all we can do of designing a web background using CSS.
Now in order to set the background here, let's first put the background for a paragraph, and for doing that I'll put style attribute. I can do that here as well in the style, but for this I'm going inline. So style is equal to background color. So background color, whatever you want, like let's say I'll pass yellow. So that will basically change the background color to yellow. Since I specified the background only for this paragraph, so only this much portion is being having a background yellow. But you can see like there is a sentence, and after that I have added 3 line breaks. That's why you are getting this much height. Alright, now if I want to do the same thing for the complete document, I could have done this thing, like I can just put this style attribute here in the body. Let's remove it from paragraph. Alright, so when I'll refresh it, you can see the complete document is now having a background yellow. Similarly, you can choose any color of your choice, and if you want, you can also put the image as a background. For doing that, what I'll say is background image colon. Here I'll have to pass the URL of the image, and inside this URL function, URL attribute here, I'll pass like is a folder in the same location where I have saved my web page, and inside that I have bg.jpg image. So you will pass the URL of the image, and when I'll refresh, you can see this is the image which I wanted to set in the background. The text is still the same. Now if you want, you can just make some amendments in the same image. Like if you want to repeat this particular background, by default it is getting repeated horizontally as well as vertically, since the size of the image is smaller than the screen size. So what I can do is I can just pass the semicolon, and I can apply the attribute like background repeat. So if you will say repeat, that is the default value, means there will be no change. But if you will say repeat X, only horizontal images will be repeated. As you can see here, vertically it's not getting repeated, since X denotes the horizontal and Y for vertical. Now when you say repeat Y, so there is no image right here on the right hand side, but it is repeated vertically. And after that you can also say no repeat. That will just add this image once. You can also set the position of the background by passing the attribute background position to any particular value. So basically what it will do is, when here you refresh, it is taking the margin of 100 pixel from horizontal as well as from the vertical. By default it was getting started from this coordinate 0, 0, but now it is taking 100 pixel margin from the left and from the top. So let's come back to this one, and I will put some more line breaks here just to make my document much bigger. Alright, so let's save it, let's refresh it. Alright, let me just remove this first. Let me remove this background repeat as well. So this is my page, and here you can see the content going on. Alright, now it's just line break, I haven't put anything else. But now there is one more thing, like if I want to fix my background, for doing that I will pass the attribute background attachment to fixed. So let's save it, let's refresh it here, and now when I will scroll you can see there is only content floating. Alright, let me put some content as well so that you can feel that. I'll put it somewhere in the middle so that you can see it scrolling. Alright, and here you can see only the content is floating here, but there is no change in the background, it is still. Alright, so this is about the fixed background. So these are the things that you can put in your paragraph or in the background of your whole document, where you can put the colors or you can put the images in a different way.
Now we are going to discuss about the gradient color in this video. As in the previous video, we saw how to do the manipulations with the colors in terms of the opacity. Now here what we will do, as the name says it's gradient colors, means it's going to be gradient, means we will use multiple colors and one after another those colors will come in a series and will give a very beautiful look in the output. So let's see what all options are available with CSS3 to make the set of colors as the gradient color.
So as far as the implementation of gradient color is concerned, here I have taken an ID selector with the name grad1, and later I am applying this to a div. Now let's see what all changes I have made inside this ID selector. So the first is the height. I want 100 pixel height for this particular div. After that, you can see that there are number of background options to all. So pink and green, I have added a couple of colors out here. So let's see how the output will look like. And here you can see that this is the output, right? By default it is coming from top to bottom, but if you want to change the direction you can just add one more parameter, that is left, like from left to right. So I will add left in all the ones. All right, so now you can see starting from left it is going towards right. So these are the couple of directions, like from top to down, from left to right. Similarly, you can give the styles for the diagonal gradient colors also. For that you will have to tell a couple of directions, like left top, that is the starting position. All right, so let's see the browser output. Like here you can see red, blue. So left top it is starting from red, and then diagonally it is changing its color, and at the last it is blue in color. All right, since red and blue are the two different colors out here. So these are the things where I'm using the linear gradient. Like It could be from top to down, from left to right, or from diagonal. Now let's see some available options for the radial, means this, if I want some circular in the gradient, let's see how those work. So for that, rather than linear keyword, here radial keyword will be used. I'm using height and width both for now. You can just continue with the height also as we were doing earlier. And now here you can see the difference like red, green and pink. Alright, since there are three colors, you can pass the percentage, like how much width you want in each color. So pink 60%, green 15%, 5 for red. Alright, so let's see the output now. And here you can see. Alright, so this is how the radial gradient will work. Starting from the last, means this one is the inner one, then the outer and the outermost. Alright, if you want, you can add more colors in the same method. You can also use the repetitive option for that. Like for example, if you have a couple of colors and you want them to keep repeating unless a particular time comes, you can do that as well. And how we can do that? Just by adding this repeating keyword. Alright, so now the method is repeating radial gradient. Or so I'm just using a couple of colors like 10% for yellow, 15% for green, and after that, because it's just covering the 25%, so after that it will keep repeating. Alright, that's why I'm using repeating out here. Alright, so let's see the output here. Now you can see, okay, so every time this green, yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow is keep repeating itself. So this is how you can work with the different options available with CSS3 regarding the gradient colors. Either it's for repeating, either it's for linear or radial.
In this video of CSS, we are going to discuss about the very important concept using which we can give some very attractive look to our web page, and that is the images. Images, as I said, can give you a very representational information along with some decoration as well. So proper formatting of image is one of the very important tasks of a web designer. So let's see a practical implementation where we will pass some different styles to the images. So let's start a practical implementation.
Alright, so now for putting the image, we know we will work with the img tag, and here we have the attribute called src, where I will pass the URL of the image. Now to give some styles to this, I will use the style attribute as always, and then I will pass a couple of things. Like here I'm just making some changes in the border, though we have a lot of new things which are there in CSS3 which we will cover in the upcoming series. Now here we see border, it's 3 pixel, means that's the width of the border. Dotted means there will be not a solid border, it will be dotted border of red color. So let's save it and come to browser. When I'll refresh, you can see there is logo followed by this red dotted 3 pixel width border. Now if you want to make it dashed, there are some more options. You can make it dashed like this, and if you want, you can make it solid as well. Alright, now for this I will use 1 pixel solid green. Alright, so these are the things which you can work while working with the images in CSS. As I said, we do have a lot of things while we will be working with CSS3 which we'll cover in later. So that is all about giving these styles to the images.
Now in this video we'll discuss about designing the borders using CSS. When I talk about borders, it is not just related to table, but you can pass the borders with the particular tags like paragraph, div and images as well. So whenever you pass a border to a paragraph or div, you can give a look of forming a box kind of image as well. So let's see a practical where we will try to create the different kind of borders using CSS along with the paragraph and the div. So let's start the practical now.
Now in this very example for the borders, what I have done, I have created 2 CSS classes for the paragraph tag with the name example1 and example2. In the first one, what I have done, I have pass the width of the border along with the type like solid, dotted, dashed. We can pass different variety of the borders. We will discuss what all possible values you can pass. Apart from that, I have passed the bottom color, top color, left and right color, as I just wanted to show you like we can pass the different values for all the different kind of border, different sides of border, for top, bottom, left and right. So here I have shown you the values in hexadecimal format. You can also use the name of the color as you usually do. So this is what I have passed right here. But in the second example, means in the second class, I have just passed a single border color. So it depends. If you want to put the same color for all the sides, you will just say border color. Otherwise, you will say border bottom color, top, left and right accordingly. So here I have passed two paragraphs in the body section, and in each paragraph I have assigned the particular classes of CSS like example 1 and example 2. So let's save this and come to browser, and here you can see the different colors out there, like top one is red, green, and here in second one you can see the green border is there only. Alright, if you want you can also increase the width of the border so that you can see it more clearly. I'll make it 5 pixel, I'll save it, and again if I'll show you, you can observe the different colors, like it's somewhat black, red, green, and here it's blue color, while here it is just the green color. In another example, I am just trying to show you what all different varieties of border style you can pass. Like here I am keeping 4 pixel width common for all the borders, but the border style is getting changed every time. Like here it is none, means there will be no border. It's solid, dashed, double, groove, ridge, inset. Alright, and outset hidden. So let's save it and see how these different borders will look like. So here this one is none border, as I said, like since I passed none, so this border will not be visible, while this one is the solid as it was there in the previous example. This one is dashed so that you can see the dashed thing here. Double border, as you can see. Grooved means somewhat grayish like disabled thing. Ridge, inset, outset, you can see the shading here. In inset it's upward and here in downward. It is hidden. Hidden means the border is hidden for now, and here it is customized, like all for all the different things. It is for top it is solid, for bottom it is dashed, here it is inset, and here it is double. Alright, so let's see here. Dashed, groove, double and solid, all the 4 different borders are applied. Apart from that, you have also one more option, that is dotted. So I'll just change it to dotted just to show you. So here you can see this is the dotted border. So these are the different border styles which you can pass using the CSS class and with the attribute border style. And now here you can see that I'm making some changes in the border width which I have done earlier as well. But the new thing which I wanted to show you, like apart from the values here like 4 point or 4 pixel, you can also use the keywords like thin, medium, thick. Alright, so again the last one is miscellaneous, having lots of attribute altogether. Like the bottom width is 4 pixel, top width is 10 pixel, left is 2 pixel, and right one is 15 pixel, and it is of border solid. Alright, so let's refresh it, and here you can see the solid with 4 pixel, 4 point, thin, medium, thick as the keyword, and here borders with the different thickness all over around, like top, bottom, left and right. So these are the things, these are some of the possible things which you can perform while working with CSS.